fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my God!
Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
It's Friday night on SimSpeed TV, and for the time being, that does mean Speedway night. This is, thanks to SimSpeed TV, the Australian wingless sprint racing iRacing Super Series Invitational, many real-world wingless sprint car drivers here in Australia getting together for a virtual series amid the lockdowns. Presented by the Tyre Factory Warrnambool, we are proud to present to you round 2 of the series here at Lernerville Speedway. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Cam Dance. Cam, we have gone through 12, 13 weeks of 360 winged sprint cars together, but now we chop the wings off, and it's a completely different type of racing.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a whole different ball game, this sort of stuff, with the fact that there's no wings to play with. So it's all just pretty much drive it by the seat of your pants and throw a few sliders.
Exactly right. And of course, we'll be going through this event with the usual heat and pole shuffle structure that we've come to expect, but we've got a couple of interesting twists and turns in this event format tonight for you to enjoy. Thanks very much for joining us on this live broadcast on YouTube and on Twitch and Facebook as well. We hope you enjoy the racing that is coming up here tonight. So, first off, I guess, Cam, we should talk about the track, because it's been a while since we've been to Lernerville, and this is quite the unique speedway, at least for my Antipodean mind. No walls around the outside through the turns, so if you push too hard into a corner, you just go straight over the berm.
Yeah, certainly. It's one of those ones that it rewards you if you take the risk, but at the same time, that risk does mean you're going to end up possibly falling straight down into the back of the order and possibly ending your race at the same time. So it's a very radical difference in terms of track compared to what we were at in last week at Lanier. So yeah, it's going to be quite fascinating to see how these wingless cars go around Lernerville. We've seen these cars go around here before in previous other series that others have broadcasted, but yeah, it's going to be a first time for us here watching these things around this sort of track in this time of the year.
Yes, indeed, and I've done a fair few laps around Lernerville in the wingless sprint car on iRacing. It is a certain handful. You have to completely back the car into the turns to try and get a straight exit, and you see the drivers running the high line already in the practice session. Oh, there you go. Big crash, and we should be seeing a couple more of those tonight if the drivers aren't too careful. But a lot of these drivers, in fact, pretty much all of them, having vast amounts of real-world experience. So getting into the sim should be just a slight transition for these guys. We've got the likes of Alex Ross, the 2019 Australian wingless sprint champion, in the field tonight. We've got Dane Bentvelsen, the 2019 and 20 National Series feature winner as well. So we've got an awful lot of drivers here who can put on their mark in this series, with Dane Bentvelsen already up in 6th place in this practice session.
Yeah, there's certainly quite a few good drivers in this field tonight, and it's really going to be quite interesting to see who comes out on top tonight here at Lernerville. I mean, we saw a fantastic battle last week out between two very, very good drivers, the likes of Todd Hobson and a few others battling it out all race long. And there's also a few drivers out there who are more used to the iRacing service. You've got the likes of Brady Baldwin and the Harris brothers and those sort of drivers out there. So it's a really, really good comparison of seeing the guys that don't really have the experience in the sim have to adapt to what it's like in there, and then obviously having those who are used to it sort of have to try and work their way around those who aren't as experienced.
Yes, well, we're going to come to that bridge when we get to it. For now, we are in qualifying, and the drivers are setting their times. They've got 3 laps in order to set a representative qualifying time over a 4-minute session. We're just waiting for the first times to come in. There's Chris Temby already putting it on P1 with a 14.355, and Amy Shute just absolutely blitzes it down to a 14.3 up there at the top as we see the times start to file in. Kyle Mock down there in 10th place as well. But Chris Temby and Amy Shute, a very good opening campaign from those two.
Yeah, certainly a very, very good time in qualifying actually to put themselves up on that top 2 positions as it stands at the moment. A couple of drivers still yet to set times, but yeah, very, very quick times at the moment, and it's very, very close as well in terms of lap times throughout the whole field.
Certainly is. We're waiting to see if there are any improvements, any changes throughout the field. Looking to see, I think Kyle Mock just put himself up 1 extra position. Hello, Jake Warren, exiting the track in style like he cartwheeled into turn 1 at Premier Speedway some time back. So sim racing is realistic. Proof positive right there. Tim Harris goes to P6 and his brother Ryan Harris staying in P12. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup when we get into the heats at the end of this session for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be quite the matchup, and there is a top 4 invert as well, just to spice things up a little bit more. So we'll see who can come through and who ends up having to do the alphabet soup. And it's a very, very close field. It is just seen Mitchell Broom go up in to P number 8. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the invert works here. And also, you don't have the walls to sort of try and bounce the right rear off and sort of save yourself. You've actually really got to drive it around here and just pretty much have your fingers crossed the whole time and hope that you don't come over the berm.
Yeah, exactly right. And Mitchell Broom is giving us a great view of all of that from the onboard, just showing how high of a line you have to take through these turns at Lernerville. And it's all about mechanical grip in these wingless sprint cars. You have to back it into the corner, you have to straighten out the exit as much as possible, and it's all about being smooth, with Ryan Harris using some dumps of opposite lock out of the final corner. He's falling down the order, but it looks like he wasn't able to improve on that. Some excellent times coming in and putting him down into position 15.
Yeah, not quite going to be able to set another lap, unfortunately, having done all his qualifying laps. Just seen Brady Bowl move into P at number 9 as well on his last flying lap. So we'll see what Brady can do here as he crosses the line. Does not improve, but still top 10 is reasonable placing.
Certainly is. Brady Baldwin, the main organizer of this series as well. So he's put an awful lot of effort into getting this off the ground, as he and Bob King did with the ODSE 360 Power Series. So looks like that is more or less the end of qualifying. We've still got a couple of cars out on track, just testing out the circuit, seeing how fast they can go. But the time is rapidly running out, and Luke Redpath, unfortunately, not able to improve on a 17th place position. But that is the end of qualifying, and we're going to move into the first heat of the night here for the second round at Lernerville, the Australian Wingless Sprint Racing iRacing Invitational. Harley Parr is going to start on pole, with Brady Baldwin joining him on the first row. Mitchell Broom and Amy Shute, 3rd and 4th. There's that top 4 inversion working. Luke Redpath is going to start in 5th, with Simon Bestman in 6th. And an 8-car field for this one, with Anthony Tapley and Jason Bates on row 4. All heats tonight are going to have 8 cars in them, and it's going to be a nice 8-lap dash to set the first couple of cars to get a free ticket into the feature.
Yeah, similar setup to what we saw in the ADSC 360 Power Series, where you had the top 3 go through to the A main and everybody else behind had to work their way through the alphabet soup, and those top 2 going through to the pole shuffle dash or whatever it may have ended up being. But nevertheless, it's going to be quite an exciting night to see what happens here. I've got 4 heats by the looks of it, so it's really going to be all about just making sure you don't go over the berm.
Ooh, that's a problem there, with the car having trouble getting out of pit lane. That's Anthony Tapley. Obviously, looked like he was having a couple of problems with the front end. He's been able to get out on track, though, so he can join this grid. Good to see, and he's got an extra lap to complete the catch-up as well, because the iRacing pace truck is going to pull into pit lane at the end of this lap, and we're going to get the green flag. It's a double file start for this one, and Harley Parr is going to hold the inside. But it's going to be interesting when we get up to racing speed, because Lernerville has a bit of extra banking around the outside on the very exit of the final turn, which cars around the outside can certainly use to launch themselves onto a passing maneuver. Here we go. Green flag flies, and we are away for the AWSR iRacing Invitational, and that's a great start from Brady Baldwin. Just shuts the door completely, and there's contact, and Baldwin, unfortunately, all the way to the back of the grid. That is a huge smash for Brady, and certainly not the way he would have wanted to start his night, but it looks like Mitchell Broom has managed to make his way into the lead of this race, and they are fighting hard through the turns. Amy Shute trying to defend against Harley Parr, the pole sitter. She's managed to get in front.
It's been a very close battle so far, and Harley Parr getting up into the wall. Contact just behind between Redpath and Bestman, but yeah, Shoot now starting to put a bit of pressure on Broom here as they're starting to come towards the halfway point.
Certainly is. Have a look at this, and going right down to the inside, the car almost going backwards. Can Amy keep up the momentum? No, she cannot. Mitchell Broom is holding the outside beautifully here. Oh no! He's gone over the berm! Mitchell Broom, he's going to go all the way to the back of the grid now. Oh, that is a huge shame. Out from the lead, but Lernerville's pitfalls already taking some victims.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's the risk that you take when you run right up against the edge of that berm, is you're going to either put it over the edge and end up going backwards, or you're going to end up riding that berm just ever so perfectly. So, unfortunately, it's taken its first victim of the night, but nevertheless, it's on for that final transfer spot between Redpath and Bestman.
Certainly is. Simon Bestman right onto the back of Luke Redpath here in a good run onto the front stretch. They make a little bit of contact into the first turn, but no harm, no foul between them. It's the penultimate lap, and our leader, Amy Shute, is coming around to get the white flag. There's Luke Redpath on the inside, still trying to defend from Bestman. They make contact again. It's another dive from Bestman into the turn. He's managed to get ahead. Redpath cannot maintain the momentum. He's going to have to try around the inside. Amy Shute is taking victory, and oh my goodness, Luke Redpath down into the final turn, no momentum left. He ended up losing the position there to Simon Bestman. He gets third, but Amy Shute and Harley Parr are through into the pole shuffle. There's the results. Man, what an opening heat for the night, and a big shame for Brady Baldwin and Mitchell Broom.
Yeah, certainly two very, very quick drivers, and two drivers who could have easily come away with the top two or top three at least in that heat. So unfortunate for them, and they'll have to go through the consolations. But nevertheless, we've got the Heat 2 grid starting to line up.
Yes, indeed we are, and it's Kyle Mock and Andrew Sayer who are on the first row here. William Lucas and Chris Temby lining up behind them, with Clapp and Mills on the third row, and Nathan Dicker and Brad McCarthy rounding out the 8 for this second heat of the night. Now, Chris Temby on pure one-lap pace would be the fastest driver out of all of these guys. Of course, the top 4 inversion working its way once again. They're all out on track now, and it looks like there are no stragglers this time. Everyone seems to have gotten themselves off to a good start there. Well, Nathan Dicker, unfortunately, having some troubles getting out of the pits, but he has managed to get onto the back of them now as well. Forming up behind the pace truck, and away we go.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a challenge getting these things off a standing start, more or less, to try and get a bit of steering into them with the way that the weight transfer is in these cars. But nevertheless, everybody seems to have got a handle on it in this heat. So we'll see what happens in this heat, though. And yeah, it's going to be definitely all about watching Chris Temby. He was very, very quick at Lanier, and one of the drivers that was up the pointy end of the field. So yeah, not going to be surprised if he can come through and end up winning this one.
Yeah, Temby beat Todd Hobson to win round 5 of the 2019 Nyora Wingless Series, so he's definitely got some good pace under his belt. We'll see what they can do. But we're coming up to the start now. The pace truck is in, and Kyle Mock goes for it on the green flag, straight lining it, but that is an excellent start from Andrew Sayer. My goodness. That is crazy. Just a big start from that second, and it looks like Kyle Mock is starting to fall back because Temby already on the charge. Look at him go. Oh no, there's some contact in the background. I'm seeing Nathan Dicker and Brad McCarthy, unfortunately, coming together, and McCarthy very slow to get going again. So that might be the end of his heat, but we'll have to wait and see. Get a modem simulation replay of that incident as racing continues out on track. And it just looks like, oh, yeah. Dickerson was very, very slow there. And that's very unfortunate. And it looks like it's on for the lead now because Chris Temby has managed to get the move done on Andrew Sayer. He is now in the lead of this second heat. And Andrew is starting to come under an attack from Kyle Mock here. It's a bad run down the back stretch. Mock holding the outside, and it looks like he's going to manage to hold it, only just. But this is really bringing William Lucas into this battle.
Yeah, it certainly is. These two are really scrapping, and Lucas not quite going to have the drive off turn number 2. We're going to throw a slide job and turn 3 contact between the two, and over the berm it goes. Kyle Mock up and over 2. So that will be his race done and dusted.
That's a big shame for Kyle Mock. My commiserations to you. That was a very unfortunate incident. We'll get another quick look at it as our leader starts his penultimate lap. So here is the onboard, and just going in very hard on the inside, and there wasn't much more that he could do, was there?
Yeah, there certainly wasn't. Not really any chance of that move ending up paying off all too well for either driver. So unfortunate for Mock to have to now go through the consolation races, but nevertheless, it's been a pretty solid drive by Chris Temby the whole time through this race, and a great start as well. And he will take out the second heat. Andrew Say is going to come home in second, and William Lucas is going to round out the transfers.
Yeah, but William Lucas has been given a black flag for that incident with the other driver just before, so he might be in a little bit of trouble with regards to that. We'll wait and see over the course of the night, but we're getting started now for Heat 3, and Ryan Harris is going to start on pole here with Dane Bentvilsen joining him on the front row. I'm very interested to see what he can do from there. Tim Harris, Ryan's brother, lines up behind him with Todd Hobson, the 2017 Victorian wingless sprint driver. He is starting in 4th place. Gavin Fitzpatrick and Kyle Ion on row 3 with Williams and Mills rounding out the field here. Now, I'm definitely familiar with how Ryan Harris races, and he's certainly a force of power in 360 winged sprint cars, but this is the first time I'm going to see him in a wingless. How is he going to match up against the likes of Dane?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. He did have some very, very good pace at round 1, and unfortunately just had a bit of bad luck at the end of the day. So we'll hopefully be trying to bounce back here at Lernerville. But yeah, he's clearly shown that he's able to be competitive and is going to try and at least give it a red hot go to try and at least have a result out of this one this time out.
Yes, indeed. Well, starting from pole, he's certainly in the box seat, but we have seen, especially considering that Heat 2 start, starting on the inside, not necessarily an advantage, because there's a little bit more turn that you need to do before you get onto the throttle, whereas drivers on the outside can just hang the tail out and use that very extreme banking on the final turn that you can see in the background to their advantage.
Yeah, it's certainly one of these strange things about some of these tracks is the way the green flag comes out, it can actually sort of help those on the outside a little bit more than those on the inside. So it is it's really interesting to see the difference in terms of which one's got the advantage. But nevertheless, we'll see whether Ryan Harris can time it very, very well as we go green. And he has indeed timed it very, very well and got a very even start.
Yeah, it's a nice even start from all the drivers. That's a problem for Tim Harris. He's lost some momentum in the first turn, so he's back to 4th. But Dane Bentvilsen running that inside line and just shutting the door there on Ryan Harris to put himself into the lead. But Todd Hobson now starting to come up on him. They make contact. Bentvilsen's been spun around. Absolutely collected by most of the field, and that is going to be a major disadvantage for Ryan Harris as well. He's going to be carrying damage, but all up, this has managed to Wow, I don't even know what's happening at the moment. Kyle Ion has managed to put himself into the lead of this race after starting in 6th, and it is very close up the front. Hobson is down in 4th, but he's looking like he's going to start to put on a charge. Ryan Harris absolutely barreling it into turn 1, as is Hobson, but neither of them making much headway for now.
Yeah, certainly not quite able to get any moves done at this stage. And Harris actually carrying damage as well, as he's going to throw a slide job into turn 1 on Kyle Ion, and is going to manage to pull it off. But Ion's going to come back at him down the back straight, nearly going to throw a slide job into turn number 3, but not quite going to be close enough to get the move done at the end of the day. And Hobson's going to drive it around the outside of him, nearly out of turn number 4.
Yeah, a little bit of contact between the two, and it looks like Kyle Ion is a bit stuck in the middle of the track there, because here comes Hobson round the outside, and he is maintaining that momentum beautifully, just sweeps around the outside and completes the move. So now they're on the penultimate lap. Ryan Harris, I think, is starting to look in a bit of trouble, because here comes Todd Hobson with a mammoth run of pace. And oh my goodness, looking in the background, that was Kyle Ion going over the berm all the way from 3rd place. So that is going to be the end of his heat. But it is the final lap now between Harris and Hobson, and it looks like Harris has just managed to cover him off in the final turn. He's going to come around here to take victory in Heat 3. That was very close for Hobson, though. He put on a mammoth drive. If it weren't for that incident early on, I think he would have been right up there with Harris.
Certainly would have. It would have been a very, very close finish, and probably would have ended in Hobson taking the win, but nevertheless, Ryan will be very happy to have won the heat and got an automatic expert into the feature.
And just news from race control, Todd Hobson was black flagged for the incident early on. He was deemed to be the cause. So ultimately, he's lost that 2nd place finish, and he's going to have to go through the alphabet. But we're already getting the grid up here for the 4th heat of the night, and it's going to be the final one. O'Connell and Warren on the front row, with Vickers and Walsh behind them. Declan Brownsy and Stephen Haitley in 5th and 6th, with Scott Thompson and Paul Newcomb rounding out the 8. Now, looking at this field, well, Jake Warren, we saw some spectacular theatrics from him in practice, so I think he's going to be hoping that it's not much of the same in this heat.
Certainly, they're going to hope to try and not end things in tears with a bit of contact or anything, and just hope to try and finish this one a little bit cleanly and get some decent points under their belt, and also make it through to the feature. But we'll see what happens regardless, and who comes away with this one.
Yeah, Declan Brownsy starting in 5th in the number 44. He owns 44 Photography. He races and photographs at wingless sprint car racing. So he's got a lot of experience around this discipline of speedway, and making his 2nd virtual start in this series. It'll be interesting to see what he can do from that top 5 start. But Casey O'Connell in the number 48 is going to be the one leading them away. And that we saw that even start in the last heat, but is it going to repeat in this one? Well, that is the big question on everyone's minds as the pace truck goes up and pulls into the pits. Now the field is under the control of O'Connell. The green flag flies, and we are away. And that's a great jump from Casey O'Connell. Got a car length on the rest of the field as they come into turn 1 for the first time. And oh my goodness! Oh, Jake Warren is up and over. And was that Haitley barreling into turn 1? Yeah, it was. Haitley just had no brakes, it seemed, and smashed right into a couple of cars.
Really, really weird incident. Sort of just didn't slow down for the corner at all, and just pretty much barreled it on into turn 1 and ended up making contact with the car of Blake Walsh. And obviously Jake Warren just throwing slightly too high into turn 1 and just went over the berm. So unfortunate for him, but at the moment it's really all on for those top 3 positions. There's in nose to tail. You got Brownsy, Vickers and O'Connell all fighting it out.
Yeah, you definitely have. Hayden Vickers is just trying to hold the inside here, but looks like Casey O'Connell having the run, the big momentum up the top, protecting the lead once again. But Hayden Vickers really trying very hard to get in and on there. Oh, Declan Brownsy! Oh my goodness, he's hit the wall on the edge of the last turn, and that ultimately has put Scott Thompson cartwheeling through the air. And that is going to be the end of his night, I think. Goodness me. Modem simulation replay of that one. Here's Declan. Just pushing a little too hard. Right rear over the berm and just getting into the wall on the front stretch. That is a big shame for him.
Certainly is, and very, very easy to do as well. And he just dropped the right rear just over the berm at the end of the corner, and he just ended up in the fence, unfortunately, from bottoming the car out. So unfortunate for Brownsy with the way that he was going, but nevertheless, it's really all in control of Casey O'Connell at the moment. At the front of the field, he's just been driving away from Hayden Vickers at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a nice consistent run from Casey O'Connell here, and it looks like he is going to take a very easy victory here in the final heat of the night. He's got a couple of seconds there on Mr. Vickers, taking victory with Vickers in second, and in third place it's going to be Blake Walsh, who started in fourth and went through a few wars in that particular heat. So they all get through into the feature, but O'Connell and Vickers are going to go through into the pole shuffle. Those are the results there. Big shame for Brownsy. But now we move on to the alphabet. First up is going to be the C main. And it's going to be Luke Redpath on pole with Williams alongside him. Baldwin and Hobson starting third and fourth, and Hobson will be looking for some redemption after his penalty in his heat. Anthony Tapley and Kyle Ione in fifth and sixth, with Mitchell Broom and Tim Harris starting seventh and eighth. Those guys will be looking for some redemption as well. In fact, it's redemption all the way down the field. In ninth and 10th, you got Jason Bates and Dane Bentvilson, who we definitely expected not to be going through the alphabet.
A stacked consolation race and C main. This one is with a number of drivers who you wouldn't expect to be in these consolation races, like you said, and would more or less be already in the A main. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see who comes out of this. And you got the top six in this going through to the feature as well, instead of what we've seen, Reese, where it's normally the top two go through to the next consolation race. So it's really going to put a lot more pressure on these drivers to actually have to get a result instead of having to go, well, it's not a matter of just getting to the top two, so then I can have to work even more. It's about actually getting inside that top six, that so that you can actually finish your night off instead of ending up finishing it early.
Yeah, exactly right. And none of these drivers are going to want their night to end here. We still have the B main, the pole shuffle, and the feature to go. So it's going to be quite the interesting one. It's a 50-lap feature here tonight, so the drivers are going to be very fatigued by the end of tonight. Final lap under pace conditions before we get going under green flag, and we're already seeing some drivers practice putting the throttle down. These things certainly don't have any downforce helping them to put that power down to the ground, so it's all about how you set up the springs and the anti-roll bars in these cars.
No, 100%. It's all about making sure you've got that mechanical grip underneath you so that you're able to get on the power or get the thing turned in nicely instead of having to sort of really wheel it and throw the thing around to try and get it through the corner. But green flag is in the air, and we're underway in a very, very even start from the top two at the front of the field. And Brady Baldwin already trying to make his way.
Oh no, Dylan Williams! Oh, there we go. Dylan Williams is going to go all the way to the back as we continue racing. Oh my goodness, seeing some more drama. That's Dane Bentvilson, who went over the berm as well. And Kyle Ione too. All of those guys. Oh, there's another driver over the berm. It's Anthony Tapley. Looks like... What is going on in this C main? Just seems like everyone's pushing into the turns too hard and getting some air for their troubles too, but Brady Baldwin has managed to make his way to the front of this field. He holds position from Luke Redpath. It's on 4th, 3rd, though, between Mitchell Broom and Tim Harris. Harris with the run down the front straight, and he's going to dive it in, but it looks like Mitchell Broom holding the inside very nicely. We're starting to see a groove form up the top, so the inside may start to come into its own.
Certainly may very well start to come into its own. Well, that bottom side with that top side starting to have a bit of wear to it at this point. But Tim Harris and Brady Baldwin doing a fantastic job up on the top side of the racetrack. But don't count out Luke Redpath, who's doing a really, really good job holding that bottom side, trying to keep up with Brady Baldwin. Just lost out there into turn number 3 and 4, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, the top 6 are all together in this one spot, so it looks like the transfer... Oh, no, there's a mistake from Baldwin. He's gone badly through the final turn and ended up getting collected by Luke Redpath, and he's dropped all the way back down to, it seems, 5th after fighting in 2nd place. So, Brady Baldwin still managing to hold on to the lead of this one, but he's under a lot of trouble now from Tim Harris. They've gone past the halfway point already. This is a 12-lap C main. So they've still got an awful lot of racing to go side by side down the back stretch between these two, but Baldwin doing a very good job of keeping himself together under pressure. He's still holding the inside. Tim Harris, though, it seems the momentum is on his side up at the top.
Yeah. Harris doing a fantastic job running that high side at the moment to manage to drive around the car of Brady Baldwin every lap, and he's got a very decent lead now, and that position is probably very much secure at this stage now that Baldwin's starting to drop back a little bit, and the bomb side not quite being as optimal, but Todd Hobson's not too far behind these guys, and he's going to be charging absolutely like a bullet, running after a red cloth, but nevertheless, it's going to be interesting to see whether he's going to be able to get past Brady Baldwin or Baldwin's just going to be able to hold on. They haven't got long left in this race, so hazard a guess that it's going to be a very close finish come the last lap.
It is, and it's going to be tight for the final transfer spot as well, because Jason Bates is holding on to position 6 at the moment, getting harassed by Dylan Williams, but we're getting a finish now up the front here. Tim Harris is going to come home and take victory in the C main, and it looks like Todd Hobson and Brady Baldwin completing the podium there. Mitchell Broom in 4th, Luke Redpath finishing in 6th, and Jason Bates managing to hold off the advances of the car behind to keep that 6th position. So they're all going into the feature. And now it is time for the B main. Another 12-lapper with the top 6 going towards the feature. It's going to be Nathan Dicker starting on pole for this one, joined by Stephen Haitley on the front row, Andrew Sayer and Declan Brownsy starting in 3rd and 4th place. And Declan Brownsy, this is going to be his final chance to get through into the feature after the incidents that he's had. McCarthy and Newcomb on row 3 with William Lucas and Scott Thompson on row 4. Kyle Mock and Jake Warren ran out the top 10, and the final car in this final... actually, it looks like John Rotherham is not in the session at the moment, so he will not be taking to this grid. It's another 10-car start for this one.
Certainly, it's going to be interesting to see who comes through in this one. Again, the number of drivers you probably wouldn't expect to be in the consolation races and just having bad nights in the heats and having to work their way through. So, yeah, going to have to watch a number of drivers in this. And again, that top 6 going through to the feature to make up that A main field is really going to put a lot of pressure on everybody.
Certainly is. Nathan Dicker was the 4th place finisher in Heat 2. He was only 1 position away from getting a free ticket into the feature, so he'll be hoping that he'll be able to hold on to this lead. But with the field like this behind him, it's certainly going to be difficult.
Certainly is. There's a number of drivers, probably Haitley, Sayer, Brownsy, McCarthy, Newcomb, Lucas, all very much, and even Mock, all very much on this
contact.
Bit of a check-up.
Yeah, there was contact there as they were coming up to the start between Dicker and Haitley. And Haitley returning the serve a little bit. Contact there with Dicker. They switch positions, but this has put Andrew Sayer into the lead of the B main. And all he's managed to do is just stay out of trouble. 3 wide down the front stretch. How do you like it? Nathan Dicker, William Lucas going side by side. And that's a problem for Dicker up the top. He's fallen all the way back. There's a problem for Kyle Mock as well. He's now in 2nd last position. But Andrew Sayer, it seems, is one of the drivers that has gone above and beyond, head and shoulders, in this B main. He's fighting for the lead now with William Lucas.
Yes, certainly 2 very, very good drivers who we saw very competitive at Lanier, and Lucas nearly spinning out into turn number 3. Had to just get on the brakes to check up to stop running into Sayer, but at the moment, Thompson not too far behind as well, running the high side, whereas the top 2 are running radically different lines. You now got Lucas running up on the top side, so we'll see how this works out for him. But yeah, it's currently all about just making sure he stays out of the wars.
How good is this battle between Stephen Haitley and Declan Brownsley right now? Haitley with a fantastic slide job in turn 1 to secure that position, and it looks like he's... oh, hang on a minute. William Lucas, that's a problem for our former second place guy. He's had a problem going over the berm in the final turn. Now he's all the way back into 6th place. We're going to get a modem simulation replay of that. I'm seeing Paul Newcomb off the track as well. But there is what happened to William Lucas. Did he keep it out of the wall? Looks like he might just have as we go back live. So now Andrew Sayer holds on to what is a titanic lead at the moment over Scott Thompson. Stephen Haitley is still holding 3rd position. But it's on for 5th and 6th between Kyle Mock and William Lucas now. These two fighting in the last transfer spot. They're not in any danger of losing a potential spot in the feature. 7th place in the form of Brad McCarthy, a long way behind them, but they are giving no quarter to each other as we start to see a second groove form on the bottom.
It's going to be interesting to see how that groove on the bottom side is going to sort of play out for the rest of this race, and it seems to be working enough for William Lucas at this stage. And you can even see Kyle Mox just decided to try and come back down a little bit in the on the racetrack, down to more or less the middle side of the racetrack instead of being right up against the berm, and it's not really working for him at the moment. He seems to be struggling with a bit of getting the car turned in, but at the moment William Lucas really on a charge and going to look to make a move on Declan Brownsy here into turn number 3 on the inside, and that's going to be another position for him.
Yeah, good recovery here from William Lucas as our leader, Andrew Sayer, has started his final lap. And I have to say, of all the drives we've seen tonight, that has been perhaps the most controlled and conservative. And he managed to stay out of trouble and take the victory for his troubles. So great win there for Andrew Sayer. Scott Thompson and Stephen Haitley are going to complete the podium with Lucas, Brownsy, and Mock, your top 6. They will all go through into the feature, but unfortunately, we say goodbye to Brad McCarthy, Jake Warren, Paul Newcomb, and Nathan Dicker. They all put on a very good show nonetheless. So now we move on into the warm-up session, and within this warm-up, we have the pole shuffle. It's the top 2 from every heat. And the shuffle order is based off finishing position with qualifying time as a tiebreaker. We're going to organize that now, and we should be seeing cars out on track very shortly. But the pole shuffle is always a nice highlight of the night. Driver versus driver to see who can start on pole, these one-on-one battles.
Yeah, it certainly is a very, very exciting time in the night to see the best of the best on the night go to head and see where they stand in these quick fire rapid races, just to make things interesting and set the grid for the feature. So looking forward to seeing who comes out on top and who's going to end up starting a little bit further back than they might have done.
Yeah, the first car out on track is, well, just exiting the pits is Gavin Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick was gifted the second place position here due to a penalty in one of the earlier heats, I believe. So first 2 cars out on track are Fitzpatrick and Sean Clapp. I don't think this is the pole shuffle just yet, is it?
I do believe they're possibly lining up now.
All right, we will have to see on that. Yeah, our top 2 finishers in the heats all lining up at the exit of the pit lane. And Gavin Fitzpatrick and Sean Clapp start off here. See who wins out of these 2. It's a great exit from Fitzpatrick. But have a look at Clapp on the inside. The track state has been reset to 10%, so these drivers have some nice fresh clay to exploit in terms of grip. Going to be a very fast track out there. Starting that second lap here, and Gavin Fitzpatrick still managing to hold off Sean Clapp on the inside. He's going to come through and cross the line. He will stay on track. Sean Clapp, we say goodbye to for now. And he will be joined on track by Hayden Vickers, the next challenger for the pole shuffle. Now, seeing Vickers and Fitzpatrick matched up directly is something that I have not seen just yet, so it's going to be quite the interesting one.
Yeah, it certainly will be quite interesting to see what happens, and it'll be interesting to see what the lane choice is from the driver who gets to pick as well. And yeah, looking forward to it and what's going to happen in this one.
Yes, Gavin Fitzpatrick going for the inside line to start this one off. Got to think about fuel as well. Drivers, if they are going to stay out on track all through the pole shuffle and be successful, they're going to have to keep an eye on their fuel levels. But it looks like Harley Parr joining Grant Fitzpatrick, or Gavin Fitzpatrick on track and holding him off very nicely, taking that lead as they start the second lap of this one. I don't think Fitzpatrick is going to be able to respond here.
Yeah, Harley Parr's got a very solid lead at this stage to put this into a commanding victory now with the chicken flag being dropped, and it will be Harley Parr who will be going through to the next round.
Yes, indeed. So goodbye for now, Gavin Fitzpatrick. We'll see you again when we go green for the feature. So we haven't yet seen a driver last more than 2 rounds of the pole shuffle, and now Hayden Vickers is out on track. So looking at these two together now. Coming up to the green flag with Vickers on the outside. Strong start from the both of them. Vickers is going to hold the outside here as Parr protects the inside. The track isn't as worn in as it has been in the past, so drivers won't see a clear benefit to running the top or the bottom just yet. Looks like Harley Parr is holding off Hayden Vickers very nicely on this second lap. There hasn't been much of a challenge from him from the start. So Harley Parr holding the middle and the inside very well to take another victory in the pole shuffle, and he's going to stay out.
Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing the bottom being the preferred line at this stage. Obviously, the outside going to provide a lot more momentum, but yeah, clearly the fresher clay just helping that bottom side just have that bit more of an advantage.
Well, now the number 48 of Casey O'Connell comes out and joins Harley Parr. Now, it'll be interesting to see these two matched up as well. Is there going to be a response that Harley Parr has for this? It's an even start for the both of them. And O'Connell on the outside again. He's going to try and go for the over-under, and that is some excellent traction from Casey O'Connell. Going for the slide job. Can he maintain the momentum? Not quite. Parr is going to come back through on the inside as they start the second lap. This is going to be very tight between these two. Oh, Casey O'Connell couldn't quite take advantage of that traction, but slide job up the inside again. Cannot maintain the momentum. And it looks like Harley Parr is going to just hold him off there at the line. Wow. That was the best run of the pole shuffle we've seen so far.
Yeah, great duel between those two, and there was nothing in it between them either, and it was looking like it could have been O'Connell's, but just the checkup on the back straight out of turn 2, having to not be able to go down to the bottom side, it just managed to cause a bit of issues for him, and unfortunately didn't advance. So we'll see what happens here, whether Parr's going to be able to advance another round, or whether the car of Ryan Harris is going to steal this one away from him.
Yeah, here we go. The number 57 of Ryan Harris starting on the inside. He's elected, so we'll see how they go as the green flag flies. Harris protecting the inside line and already trying to work a gap here on Parr, but Parr with the inside once again. Can he maintain the momentum? No, he's not able to. It looks like Harris has got this outside line sorted pretty nicely.
He's doing a fantastic job up on the high side as Ryan Harris to drive away from Harley Parr at the moment, who's just got nothing for him on the bottom side of the racetrack. And Ryan Harris is going to end that streak that Harley Parr had.
Man, that's a shame. It was a great streak from Harley Parr, and I think he can definitely be proud of his performance in the pole shuffle. But he's going to be starting a row or two back when we get ready for the feature. Now it's time for Chris Temby to see if he can match up against Ryan Harris.
It's certainly going to be an interesting matchup between these two very, very good drivers. And the man who did just about make it a finish last week, but very, very even at the moment and more in favor of Harris at the moment. But Harris going to look to pull a slide job on Tembi into turn number 4, and Tembi's going to come back at him down to the bottom of the racetrack, slide job into turn 1, but Harris is going to drive it back down underneath, not quite going to have the momentum for the overlap, but it's looking like it's going to be Tembi's at this stage unless Harris can get a move down the inside, but not going to be enough.
Oh, very close between the two. What an excellent matchup. Chris Tembi winning there. And now it's time for the final 2-lap dash. It's going to be Chris Tembi versus Amy Shute. Amy Shute, the winner of Heat 1. So the first time Amy has seen the track since that first heat. And it's not that different to how it was. As we get ready to go, the green flag flying, Amy Shute versus Chris Tembi, who is going to start on pole here at Lernerville Speedway. We'll find out in about 1.5 laps time. Amy Shute is holding the lead very nicely over Tembi, but you can see he's driving it just a little bit harder into the corners and maintaining a little bit more momentum. To the inside, though. Whoa, have a look at that slide job there from Chris Tembi. He's going to try and protect the inside. They interlock wheels. Oh, look out. Oh, they're both going to go off, are they? No, Amy Shute's going to go through and secure pole position here at Lernerville. Chris Tembi with a mistake in the final turn. And it was just that little bit of contact that caused it. A big shame, but he's going to start in second place, which is definitely not a bad place to start.
Yeah, it's not quite pole positions, but still a front row start. So he'll be pretty happy with that, especially considering he had a very, very good result at Lania last week. So yeah, going to be looking forward to this one, and really going to be quite an exciting feature, this one.
Yeah, it certainly is. 50 laps around Lernerville. I am looking forward to this one. Oh my goodness. 50 laps of racing. We're going to get minimum amount of green flag laps is 38. So we are going to see some very hard racing here tonight. But a very quick break then for SimSpeed TV. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes to bring you the green flag of the feature. You're watching the Australian Wingless Sprint Racing Super Series Invitational, presented by the Tyre Factory Warrnambool from Lernerville.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
It's feature time in the Australian wingless sprint racing iRacing Super Series Invitational. This is round 2 from Lernerville. We've gone through the heats, we've gone through the alphabet, we've gone through the pole shuffle, and we now have a grid on track of wingless sprint cars with real-life sprint car drivers from all around Australia competing. We've already seen some very interesting racing in the heats, and it's only going to get more intense from here. 50 laps coming up as they form up behind the pace truck. Once again, for SimSpeed TV, I'm Reese Gardiner, and Cameron Dance is alongside me in the commentary box. Cam, we're coming down to the final laps of the night. It's been a long and tough night for many drivers, but now 50 laps around Lernerville, this is the real test.
Yeah, it certainly is. The track has claimed a few victims with its banking and its drop-offs on the edge of the corners, but nevertheless, 50 laps of racing around here. It's going to be absolutely an awesome show, and really looking forward to seeing who's going to come out on top of this.
Yes, indeed. We've already seen the pole shuffle where Amy Stute managed to take pole position for this one. Now, the iRacing green flag is away, but we go for an extra few laps here to rearrange the grid to incorporate the results of the pole shuffle, so not going green just yet. I'll tell you what, with a track that is still quite fresh from the last rounds of the pole shuffle, the track is going to go through an awful lot of evolution in 50 laps with this enormous grid that we've got. 24 cars starting this one, with Amy Stute on pole, Chris Temby in second, Ryan Harris and Casey O'Connell are going to start on the third row. We'll have to wait and see how the exact order is going to pan out. But with 24 cars on the grid, there's going to be some grooves forming very quickly, Cam.
Yes, certainly. There's going to be a lot of change in track from lap 1 all the way through till the end of this race, and it's really going to be quite exciting to see what line is going to be used. I mean, is it going to be the top side? Is it going to be the bottom side? Is it going to be the middle? We really don't know because of the fact that it's a reasonably fresh track state, and the fact that we've seen previously in other series where it's been very, very worn out, and we've seen the track do some very weird and wacky things. It's had the likes of being very strong at the top, and then the bottom's come back, and then the middle side's been the way to go. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but at the moment, on track is a spectacle like no other.
Yes, the 4-wide salute. I absolutely love this. It's a very beautiful field of wingless sprint cars coming around here at Lernerville. Absolutely love the spectacle of dirt racing, these parades before we get going properly. It's all part of the culture, and it's something that I hope certainly never dies. But now they're going to resume 2-wide running, and it is going to be Amy Stute and Chris Temby on the first row, Harley Parr and Ryan Harris on row 2, with Casey O'Connell and Hayden Vickers on the next row behind them. Coming around to get the green flag, it's going to be Amy Stute controlling the field now as we end the formation period and go green here at Lernerville. And it's a great start from Chris Temby. He's going to hold the outside as they all come streaming into turn 1 for the first time in the feature. Already got a car hurling itself over the berm. Who on earth is that? And it looks like they've just been completely gone out of the track. Oh, yeah. It's a big shunt further back, and the yellow flag is out. My goodness, we are going to have to get a replay of that. Fortunately, we have plenty of time to do that under caution, but It's only going to be a maximum of 3 cautions here tonight, Cam. So it's not going to be fun for the drivers if they crash late on. You see the contact there, and wow, car just cartwheeling through the air. All right, here we go. We'll go on board during the start. See what happened here from the perspective of drivers further back in the field. This is Sean Clapp that we're running on board with, and oh, there we go. Goodness me. He just got tapped a couple of times and then vaulted over the barrier. He was just maintaining too much speed to get it back under control. That is a big shame for Sean Clapp. He is in the pits with some very heavy damage. I don't think we're going to see him back on track there. It's a shame for Sean, starting in 6th place. Certainly had a lot to fight for in this feature.
Yeah, he certainly didn't. Was going to be actually looking to do all right in this race, starting up in P6 as well. So he'll be pretty gutted to have ended his race on lap 1 as well.
Is Stephen Haitley being given an end-of-line penalty out of the first lap incidents? Of course, with these cars, you really have to plan ahead with how you drive them. They're not like the winged sprint cars where you can just tip them into the corner flat out and balance it with the brake. Nah, in these things, you have to basically start your turn halfway down the straight. So it's going to be difficult for the drivers to keep it together in close quarters, but we are green once again. We are back away, and leading the way is Ryan Harris and Harley Parr, with Amy Shute still up on top. Chris Temby securing the lead beautifully, holding now a lead of a couple of car lengths as they're all jostling around in the background. A couple of cars. Oh, goodness me, that's a big crash into the wall. Car cartwheeling through the air, and that was Jamie Mills. It looks like racing is continuing, though. No caution for these guys. Matthew Mills and Redpath as well in trouble, with Luke Redpath down in 16th place. He's got it all to fight for at the moment. Todd Hobson as well. He is on a mission. He got a penalty in the heats, and he didn't have a good run through the alphabet. So now, he's down in 14th position. He's in very close quarters and fighting hard. William Lucas really pushing it towards the wall. And Scott Thompson, all he can do is hold on as well. They're around the outside. I can't believe what some of these drivers are doing. Brady Baldwin holding the inside as well. There's no space out on track for anyone.
Yeah, everybody's trying to find a bit of traction here, there, and everywhere, and it's really, really good to see the number of different lines that everybody's trying to work around just to try and find a bit of grip and a bit of pace as well. But it's all on in that mid-pack of the field, and just inside the top 5 as well. You got the likes of Tim Harris, Simon Bestman, Harley Parhane, Vickers, Brady Bowen, Andrew Sayer, and William Lucas all scrapping hard, and Todd Hobson's not too far behind this as well. He's going to look to make some moves very, very shortly, but it's all going on, and there's absolutely nothing being left on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon Bestman is holding on to that inside line, and Tim Harris starting to jet away from him in position 5. He is behind his brother Ryan, who currently sits in 4th place. In terms of 2nd place, it looks like there's a move being made. Casey O'Connell trying the mother of all slide jobs, but going over the berm, losing the position, and he is right back mired in this pack now. So no pressure there for Amy Shute. Certainly no pressure for Chris Temby out in the lead. He currently holds a 3.2 second lead, which is miles in Speedway.
Yeah, it certainly is a massive lead at the moment. It's just all going on at the front of the field. Oh!
That's Tim Harris going over the berm. He's managed to recover it, though, but he's going to go all the way to the back of the grid, and he's going to be hoping for another caution to try and get himself back into a fighting position. Goodness me. Quick little replay here, thanks to our friends at Modem Simulation. We'll see what happened to Harris. I'm wondering if this was contact, or if he just shot it into the corner too hard. Yeah, just a little bit too late of a turn in. You want to be able to skim the top of that berm with your right rear tyre. I'm seeing a problem for Mitchell Broom as well. He has stopped on track. He's having to get going again. It looks like he might have had a spin coming into the last couple of turns. He's managed to get going again. We stay caution-free.
really good to see that everybody's seemingly keeping it clean, but another replay to see what happened to Mitchell Broom, and do wonder if he's actually possibly hit the wall out of turn number 4, just gotten a little bit too high. Getting a replay here as he comes back straight on board.
I've just seen live Amy Shute has lost second place back down into 6th now. No, 9th. Right off the track. We're on board with her now, Amy Shute. And this happened in the final turn. She was doing very well, working that inside line. But coming into the final turn, that's interesting. Oh, we got a caution. We got a caution out on track at the moment. There's been a big incident back in the field. And we're not quite sure where that has come from, but here's... We're going to wait and see then what has gone on to cause that caution. We apologise for that. Oh, that was a very big incident. That was absolutely huge. Who was that? Scott Thompson making his way over the berm, and that was due to a problem in the first couple of turns as well. Down the front stretch. Managed to make it back onto track, but immediately got cleaned up.
One of those difficult things about this track is trying to rejoin without ending up being hit by someone, and you don't really know, especially since some of these drivers are running no virtual mirror either to sort of replicate like what they would in real life. So you don't really have any awareness of where cars are in relation to you apart from your relative box. But nevertheless, this has compacted the field, and it's given the likes of Todd Hobson and Amy Shute and a few others a fighting chance of getting back up to the front of the field again.
Yeah, this is the caution that I think a lot of drivers were hoping for, because there were quite a few incidents back in the pack, and none of them caused a caution since the first one. So we're now on 2 out of 3 as the pace truck pulls back in. Chris Temby is still holding this lead. We have a maximum of 1 more caution, and that's a great start from Chris Temby as the green flag flies again. Simon Bestman has managed to make his way up into 2nd spot here, and he's being chased down by Todd Hobson, who's made his way into 3rd. These guys have been waiting for this opportunity, keeping it clean, keeping it out of trouble. But not the best of times for Simon Bestman. He lost all momentum in turn 1, and oh my goodness, another car over the berm. Seems to be a very common problem. It's Declan Brownsy who's unfortunately fallen victim to that. But up the front, Chris Temby holding onto the lead, but for how long? Because here comes Todd Hobson working the inside very nicely. There's some fresh clay down there on the very bottom that he's making good use of.
He's done a fantastic job running that very, very pole line down on the bottom side, but we'll see whether he can indeed take this race lead. It's going to be a very hard task. A few more laps in this race left, just over halfway, but nevertheless, we'll see what this turns into. It's starting to have a bit of deja vu here with what happened at Lanier.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there we go. Bit of a slide job from Todd Hobson, but Chris Temby responds very nicely to that one. It is definitely on for the lead in this feature now.
Certainly
Look at
is.
them go.
Yeah, they're leaving nothing on the table, and Hobson's still trying to run right on the grass, even dropping left side tyres onto it.
Yeah, well, it's worked out well for him, hasn't it? He managed to get on the throttle nice and hard and maintain that momentum, and he's actually secured the lead now from Chris Temby. So now it'll be up to Temby to respond to this. Will we see him start to work the inside line? A little further back, though, on for 3rd, because Andrew Sayer right on the back of Simon Bestman. They are fighting hard for that 3rd place. And if Simon Bestman can come away with a podium from this after the issues he's had before, he's certainly going to be happy. You can say the same for Andrew Sayer with his excellent performance in his heat. It's been a very strong performance from both of those guys, but it looks like drivers are starting to separate into battle packs of 2 or so. Oh no! Brady Baldwin! There's been contact! The caution has been thrown! Brady Baldwin with contact just before, and that was with the number 97 of Blake Walsh. We'll get a modem simulation replay of that one. On board with Brady Baldwin. There is Walsh on the inside, and Baldwin working it very well, but they interlock wheels, and that spins Baldwin right around, and it brought the caution out automatically.
Certainly, so really has compacted the field up, and this will be the last time that it will have been compacted as well. This is the third and last caution that we're going to have, so this is going to help a few drivers, but it's also going to not really help the likes of Todd Hobson, who was doing a fantastic job up the front of the field, and actually Chris Temby just managed to get ahead of him before the caution came out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm seeing Harley Parr asking for his black flags to be cleared in the in-sim chat, so evidently that's an issue that he's dealing with at the moment, but hopefully it works out for him. Tell you what, I think Chris Temby has been one of the stars of the night so far. He's held off the pressure beautifully from Todd Hobson as they form up to begin their final lap before we go green for the rest of this race, and it's going to be 10 to go in some laps' time. It's going to be quite the finish that we're seeing. Chris Temby with a mammoth run over this one, and Todd Hobson fighting his way up through the field. Here we go. Green flag flies once again. And we're going to stay green no matter what happens from now on. Oh, have a look at the number 37 of Simon Bestman with a huge slide job. It didn't quite work out for him. Todd Hobson still holding on to second place, and all contact between Sayer and Bestman just behind. It's a pack of sardines for third place back. No one giving an inch anywhere around this circuit. But Chris Temby is rising above it all. Oh my goodness. Between Todd Hobson and Blake Walsh, that was incredibly close. And they're going to go three wide down the front stretch here. Andrew Sayer making his way down the inside. Goodness me, pushing Simon Bestman almost off the track. Bestman with the run down the inside. He's going to fire it. Amy Shute has nowhere to go at the moment. Stuck on the inside as the two of them go by her.
Yeah, Shute trying to find a way on by, but just can't seem to find the grip, and
there we go.
Around she goes.
Oh, that is a big shame for Amy, and there is no caution for that, obviously, so that's a big minus there for Amy Shute. But up the front, it looks like Chris Temby and Todd Hobson have resumed the titanic battle that we saw them engaging in before the caution came out. And Chris Temby, starting lap 46, he only holds the lead by a car length, and Hobson is trying everything he can to fire one up the inside.
Certainly can. He wants to try and get a victory here at Lernerville tonight, especially with how titanic this battle has been between himself and Chris Temby. It's mono at the front of the field at the moment, and they're doing everything they possibly can, putting their right rear right on the edge of the lip at the moment. But what a fantastic race it's been between these two.
Yeah, certainly has, and behind as well, things are getting very feisty. I'm seeing Declan Brownsy in a big battle with Mitchell Broom for 7th place. They got Hayden Vickers just up ahead of them as well. This is right at the head of the big mid-pack battle. All of these drivers fighting for the same couple of positions here behind Simon Bestman.
Baldwin in there as well as Tim and Ryan.
No! More contact! That's between Broom and Baldwin. Fortunately, they both managed to keep it going, which is good to see. But Brady Baldwin, I think, is going to be very frustrated after this one. He's been involved in a few incidents over the course of this night. And, oh, that's interesting. Looks like third place, Andrew Sayer, managed to go slightly over the berm. Oh, my goodness, a bit more contact there between Baldwin and Harris. And Andrew Sayer in a bit of trouble. Oh, and contact down on the bottom between Bestman and Walsh. That is for 5th and 4th position. Andrew Sayer will want to get as far away from this as he possibly can. We're only going to have 3 laps to go at the line for our leaders. It's Chris Temby versus Todd Hobson into turn 1, and Hobson goes for the mammoth slide job on the inside. Can he hold on to it? Only just, but Chris Temby responds right away and takes the lead back. And there goes Hobson down on the inside once again. He is very comfortable down there. Penultimate lap. Who is going to come out on top? Oh, there's some contact further back in the field, and that's created a big concertina. Looks like they've all managed to get away with it, though. It's another move for the lead from Todd Hobson. He's down on the inside, trying to protect it. But Chris Temby up on the top as they start the final lap. It is white flag here at Lernerville. Chris Temby with an excellent drive. He has been absolutely flawless for the majority of this night. And Todd Hobson trying his very best to make it. Oh my goodness, just by a car length. Chris Temby takes it.
What a race to the end there. It nearly went in favour of Todd Hobson, but he just came up short again here at Lernerville. But what a race. There was just cars everywhere, battles everywhere. It was just, you didn't know where to look.
Yeah, that you didn't. That was a fantastic feature and a great way to cap off the night as the drivers come through and finally they can start to wind down. But there are the results for the feature. Chris Temby and Todd Hobson taking those top 2 positions with an excellent drive. You have to go back 4.5 seconds to see Andrew Sayer there in P3, a very strong drive from him. Tim Harris and Simon Bestman rounding out the top 5. Strong drives from all of them. Blake Walsh finishes in 6th. Declan Brownsley manages to get a P7 after all the troubles he's faced tonight. Vickers, Broom and Haitley rounding out the top 10.
Outside the top 10 is going to be Amy Shute, unfortunately, after starting on pole as well. Ryan Harris coming home in at 12th from P3. Brady Bowen in 13th. 14th to Kyle Mock, up 10 places from 24th on the grid, so very solid drive from him. Luke Redpath in rounding out the top 15. Then we go back to William Lucas, a lap down in 16th, and then your DNF finishes of Harley Parr, Scott Thompson, Gavin Fitzpatrick, Casey O'Connell, Jamie Mills, Matthew Mills, Sean Clapp, and Jason Bates.
Yeah, Clapp and Bates, unfortunately, out right at the start, and the Mill brothers not that much luckier. That's very unfortunate for those drivers down at the bottom, but certainly this is not the last we've seen of them. This is going to be a long series, and it's going to be one that every driver is going to have a shot at finishing. But now we move into our post-race coverage, and the first driver we're going to speak to is our feature winner, Chris Temby. Chris, welcome to the commentary box, and congratulations on the victory. A titanic battle between you and Todd Hobson in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. Todd and I thought he was going to maybe come a lap later, like throw a slaughter a lap later, or show his nose a lap later, but nah, I knew he was right there coming to the line, so nah, just happy to pick up the win again. Yeah, it was good racing.
Coming through the heats, it was quite the interesting night. How did you find the track? Because we certainly saw some double groove lines forming and drivers experimenting with both the top and the bottom.
Yeah, I went to, you guys would know, but I went to the bottom I think I went to the bottom during the pole shuffle. I know the track was completely different to what it ended up to, but I just didn't really feel comfortable down there. I'd done most, the couple of practice sessions I did do during the week. I on 60% trackage and just go to the top just to get a bit more familiar with the slick. But yeah, there was definitely multiple lines around the track. Frame 4, maybe the first bit of the race, or first half of the race or so, frame 4, there was definitely something down there. But yeah, I think it was just I think Lernerville's just a top dominated track.
Yeah, definitely seems that way from the outside looking in too. Well, with the win last round at Lanier and the round win here at Lernerville, it's just consolidating the championship lead that you already hold. But Todd Hobson, with another second place finish, still not far behind. It's going to be an interesting season.
Yeah, it definitely is. I can't wait to have some more fucking. Oh, sorry. Have some more races with Todd.
No worries, mate.
I can't wait to have some more races with Todd. That was so much fun.
Well, before we let you go, Chris Temby, any shout outs, any sponsors? Who gets it done for you?
Well, of course, the real world sponsors, Temby Haulage, Anywhere, local print shop, Victory Lane Race Gear, Horribly Healthy, Auto by No Warren. Yeah, they're just a few of our partners that stay on board with us. It might be only just a discount here and there, or on Victory Lane Race Gear, sorry. It might be only a discount here and there, or a little bit of money there, but no, they help us out and they stay on board, which is a good thing.
Thank you very much for joining us, Chris Temby, your feature winner here at Lernerville. The next driver that we are going to speak to, Cam, is Todd Hobson. You were stood by with our second place finisher.
Another second place for you, Todd. Just came up ever so slightly short at the end once again, but nevertheless, still a very solid result.
Yeah, we're points racing here. Tammy might have got a bit further away in the points, but I think I fired one lap too early, and then I thought I just threw it in the last corner and it stuck, and I went from felt like half the straight to nearly in his left rear. So, well, probably woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we had our Enduro 4x4 Russell Steel 83 pretty much on rails at the end there. We sort of just patiently rolling around the top, and not much else you can do really.
Certainly, the track conditions were quite different to what they were through the beginning of the night. But did you find the track was difficult at all, or did you actually find it was a little bit easier than you thought it might be?
No, I definitely the bottom's not too bad if you're patient enough. But you saw I made a lot of my ground from 17th on the bottom, and then the bottom sort of went away. Then that top is so tricky. I'd rather a wall there because you don't just fly off. I think I was just looking at my feedback from my pedals, and I think I was half throttled down the straights and literally chugging, idling, going into the corner. So, yeah, it's definitely test your patience from up there, and you just got to hit your marks every lap.
It certainly is. And with a number of more rounds to go in the championship, and like you said, you are points hunting, it's just going to be all about getting that consistency at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. We started a bit further back. I feel bad for Dane. I wanted to apologise for him there in that heat race. We sort of threw a bit of a short slide just to give a lane on the top, but I didn't realise he was around the middle of the track. So, yeah, shot him in the foot as well for the night. But, yeah, we put ourselves deep with that, which was fair enough. But, yeah, I just really starting that deep. I just wanted to sort of get in the top 5 and see where we were. But I think we found the bottom before anyone else and we're in contention to win again.
Yeah, well, certainly. Hopefully next week it is a win, or if not, a second place once again to score some more solid points. Well, before we let you go, just any thanks and any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I hope I'm not coming second in that 89 car next week. Yeah, I forgot to thank them last week. All my partners on their car as usual. But I'd like to thank Tyre Factory Warrnambool and our company, or me, my sister's company, local print shop, for coming on board with the series, and AWSR for putting this on for us.
Well, there you have it, Reese. Your second place finisher for the second week in a row, and you are standing by with our third place finisher.
I certainly am. From 14th on the grid to third in the feature, Andrew Sayer joins us. Welcome, Andrew, and congratulations on the podium. It seemed like that feature for you was a mirror of your heat win. It came because you stayed out of trouble.
Yeah, it was a bit like that, I suppose. Coming from so deep, just had to watch your nose for the early few laps, and by the end, everyone kept running off, and there was such a fine line to hold the top. So I guess, yeah, just survivor in the end.
Let's go back to that heat win just briefly, because it seemed like the other drivers up the top in that heat were falling over themselves, but you managed to keep it consistent and keep it away from all of the incidents. Is there a particular philosophy that you ascribe to that allows you to do that?
Yeah, not really, to be honest. I don't know, it's just sort of just keeping it clean and trying not to crash and just trying to lock it straight in, but which didn't really go to plan, so.
Well, nonetheless, with a third place in the feature, you were sixth in the championship standings coming out of round 1 at Lanier, but this heat win, in combination with the other points you would have gotten tonight, is certainly a good haul.
Yeah, I think so. It should put us a few spots further up, I'm hoping, and then we'll just see how we go from there, I suppose.
Certainly will. Well, before we let you go, Andrew, who would you like to thank from your position up here on the podium?
I'd just like to thank all my real life sponsors, Aussie Forklift Repairs, and just everyone that helps out, I suppose.
That's Andrew Sayer there, your third place finisher in the feature here at Lernerville. And that brings to an end proceedings for tonight, Cam. Man, I loved that round. What a feature we had. It was 50 laps of non-stop action. Our director Fonty loves it too.
Yeah, certainly was another great and fantastic night of racing here at Lernerville, and can't wait for what the rest of the series is going to put on, because if this is anything to go by, it's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'm looking forward to every single round of this series to come, the next one of which is going to be this time next week in the same place here on SimSpeed TV, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We want to thank Brady Baldwin for putting the series together, and for all of the drivers coming in and putting on an excellent virtual show here. We want to give our thanks to the Tyre Factory Warrnambool for their support of this series, and also to the print shop as well for their support. Here at SimSpeed TV, my name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box tonight was Cameron Dance, and it was Scott Fountain directing. It's bye for now, but not forever.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God! Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?